What's the fastest you've seen a crowd go from excited to horrified? An animal show at Busch Gardens. The camels started ducking. The entire assembled students from the elementary school where teacher astronaut Krista McAuliffe taught at, who were broadcast live to the world, as they watched the Space Shuttle Challenge explode seconds after takeoff, killing all hands on board, including their teacher. Oh yeah, we had an all-school assembly to watch it, on a tiny TV up on the auditorium stage of course. I was in 3rd grade, we barely understood what was going on. The most unnerving thing was watching our teachers weeping quietly and trying to look strong for us. I was also in 3rd grade but on West Coast, so I woke up to my mom crying in front of the TV. The science teacher took us out to watch it from the playground. We were only 50 miles away and could see it clearly. Then the ducking thing blew up. The climax of the last Twilight movie is a fight scene that goes on for 10 minutes. Vampires are ripping each other's heads off, giant wolves are throwing them around like chew toys, and one by one each of Bella's friends and family die around her. You can actually hear people in the audience react as each named character dies. And none of this happened in the book, which was criticized for its lack of climax. As each minute goes on, it feels like they improved the film's story to give it a real sense of danger and excitement and payoff to the series. So shit's intense. And right as they kill the big bad evil guy, the camera fades to black, pulls out, and reveals that all of it was a vision. The last 10 minutes didn't happen, it was someone seeing a future that might happen. No one died. Just a bunch of vampires and wolves standing around staring at each other in silence. Then they all walk away, alive and well. The crowd groans. A girl up front shouts, "Are you shitting me?" Everyone sits back in their seat, no one cares about what's happening on screen anymore. Some people are laughing because someone hit the undo button on the most exciting 10 minutes of the movie. Never have I seen a theater turn on a film so quickly and so hard. I was at one of the midnight premieres for this one, and saw the same thing. Several different people yelled "What the duck" when it showed it was all just a vision, and you could feel the disappointment in the crowd. Pink Floyd often would have giant floating pigs released during the concert, inflatable balloons. This would happen like halfway through the show. Well, people are smoking tons of pot, drinking, doing God knows what other drugs, so by the time the pig is released it's basically like God descending from the heavens. People were losing their shit at the pig. Well, it got caught in one of the wires and caught on fire. You've never seen so many stoners fall to their knees in terror-fear sorrow over the death of a giant inflatable pig. There is no God anymore, his bacon got fried. I think this is the only one in this thread where I wish I was in that crowd. Yeah, and end up like Viserys with plastic. A piggy crown for a piggy king. There was a guy performing risky stunt dives in a river for money. He pulled off great stuff and people were clapping and clearly hyped. One of the tricks went really bad and he crashed headfirst into a rock from a decent height and killed himself. I always remember what Penn Jillette said at the end of his nail gun routine. It was like, "We find it morally wrong to put someone in real danger for entertainment." And I have to agree. They think it's immoral to make the audience complicit in danger. Basically, you're paying to see a magic show, not a medical emergency, so there shouldn't realistically be that possibility on the docket. Yes. And they managed to make it look dangerous in many of their acts. No need for real danger. A friend of mine decided it would be fun to try and see if he could smash a beer glass on his head. Up until then he was just being an enthusiastic drunk and had some positive attention. He then decided the beer glass thing was a good idea and promptly executed it. Head wounds bleed a lot in the first minute. Crowd went from "Aw you're cute" to "Fuck he's gonna die." I sobered up in an instant and got a semi-clean towel for him to stop the bleeding. Thankfully head wounds also stop bleeding pretty quick in most instances. Drunk ideas are almost never good ideas. WWE's Over the Edge 1999. Owen Hart fell 70 feet to his death during the event, and the company inexplicably continued on with the show after he'd been taken to a hospital. That's kind of ducked up. Oh, he forgot to mention that during the countdown to return to the televised show, someone just nonchalantly tells Jim Ross, that didn't know that Owen had died, that he now has to announce the death of Owen Hart to the viewers. Yeah, he was told he had the duty of letting everyone know. Literally, I think it was 10 seconds after he was told about it himself. Junior is a true professional. Rip Owen Hart, one of the greats. I now have the unfortunate responsibility of announcing Owen's death. I'm not even a huge WWE fan, but he handled it incredibly professionally for finding out 10 seconds earlier he died. I saw this on YouTube somewhere. A bodybuilder was strutting his stuff in front of a crowd, warming them up and everything at an event. They absolutely loved it. Many people had attended just to see him. He was at his peak, huge muscles and sculpted physique, absolutely amazing. I don't personally like the bodybuilding look, but you've got to respect hard work. The crowd was cheering him and he got so pumped up, so full of energy and emotion that instead of just walking onto the stage, he did an impromptu jump flip. He launched himself high into the air and did this impressive flip. The crowd went berserk. But he was a bodybuilder, not a gymnast. He landed on his neck and died instantly, crumpling on the spot. It is one of the most horrific, sudden and unexpected things I've ever seen. Maybe the worst part was not all of the crowd realized immediately. They kept smiling and cheering for their hero for another minute before it sank in that they had just witnessed him die right in front of them and they were clapping for a dead man. Edit: his name was Sifiso Lungelo Thabit, only 23 years old, from South Africa. He was a junior world champion in his weight category. For those who are asking, a few people in the comments have posted the link. It's here. I very much do not recommend watching. It's tragic and horrible. Obviously NSFW NSFL for death. Similar to how comedian-magician Tommy Cooper died. He was known for being the guy whose tricks went wrong and he'd just kind of muddle through it for a bit, but it always worked in the end. One day he's doing a live stage show and he had a heart attack, collapsed and died instantly. The audience all just thought it was part of his act and started clapping and laughing until someone realized what had happened and closed the curtains. I've seen the video, it really does look like it's part of his act. If you were in the crowd just thinking it was part of the show, it honestly would have been hilarious. The way he collapsed, and the snoring that came from the heart attack. It's very evident from how ducking hard the audience is laughing. I remember one of the comments from the YouTube video was something like, imagine being him, having a heart attack in the middle of your show, audience laughing as hard as they are. Hopefully his final thoughts were, I'm absolutely killing this crowd. If you're an entertainer, surely this is the best way to go, right? 7 to 8 years ago during a concert there was an earthquake, not too huge, but enough for some speakers to fall and to scare the shit out of those attending. At a music festival, Blues Fest, in my city, Ottawa, we had a stage collapse in a windstorm a few years back. Edit: it was actually 9 years ago. The band playing at the time was Cheap Trick, and they sued the festival and the stage company. Edited: some details. Monday Night Football, November 18, 1985. Washington Redskins vs. the New York Giants. I was pretty young at the time, so being allowed to stay up late on a weekday was a rare occasion. During one of the plays, Joe Theismann was sacked by Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson of the Giants. The entire stadium went silent as Theismann would end up suffering a compound fracture of the tibia and fibula. What I remember most vividly is that the broadcast kept replaying it over and over again and seeing shins snap at a 90-degree angle. It made me physically nauseous and had to walk out of the room. If I recall correctly, following the injury, broadcasting policies were changed so that constant replays like this would not be shown in the future. Seeing Alex Smith's leg injury live was just as bad. I literally screamed in horror when that happened. Proof we live in the Matrix. Joe Theismann broke his right tibia and fibula on November 18, 1985 in a game in Washington that ended 23-21. The only three-time Defensive Player of the Year Lawrence Taylor was involved in the injury, which occurred around the 40-yard line. Theismann's Pro Bowl left tackle, Joe Jacoby, wasn't on the field due to injury. Alex Smith broke his right tibia and fibula on November 18, 2018 in a game in Washington that ended 23-21. The only other three-time Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt, was involved in the injury, which occurred around the 40-yard line. Smith's Pro Bowl left tackle, Trent Williams, wasn't on the field due to injury. I'm not fact-checking any of this BC. I love eerie coincidences, want it to be true. Excellent clear writing, BTW. It's true, I watched the game and am pretty sure it was pointed out on a sports network the next day. I was at some weird zoo animal preserve north of Phoenix in 2012, and there was a tigress in chain-link compound. This little girl went up to her and blew her a kiss. The tigress looked at her, it licked her own, not the little girl's, whiskers, and the crowd went awe. The tigress shifted a little bit and pissed all over the little girl. The crowd was shocked and horrified, but I laughed my ass off. While I was reading this, I was so scared it was gonna say she was mauled by the tiger.